Now, I can't be the only one who is curiously entertained by Freida McFadden. I feel like I have gone down a rabbit hole trying to understand this author, understand what she does, and understand what makes her so popular. And I don't think I have actually cracked the code. I don't know if I'm going to crack the code in this video, but I kind of want to. I feel like that is something that I desire doing. I think this mystery thriller author has really blown up in the past few years. I feel like I see her titles everywhere. I see her talked about, especially amongst my friends who are not readers. The people that I went to college with, the people that I went to high school with, I feel like they talk about books written by Colleen Hoover and by Freida McFadden, and I don't know, I'm just so curious about her success, about her books, about what makes her tick. I read an article. I went so far as to read a New York Times article about this Boston physician turned mystery thriller great. I just have so many questions. I still have so many questions lingering after having read that article. So I kind of want to read some Freida McFadden in this video. I think I've read 2, 3, maybe 4 of her books in the past. I do know that her books are not necessarily good. They are entertaining though. Pretty much every one that I've read has made me giggle at its stupidity, or I guess gasp at how successful these plot twists are, even if the books are not particularly well written. I kind of want to undergo a challenge. I had the idea for a video title, reading Freida McFadden books until my eyes bleed, which is hopefully what you're seeing as the title for this here video. I just want to understand Freida, okay? I want to understand what makes her tick. I want to see if there is any repetition in these storylines. I want to see if any are better than others. I want to see how many books it kind of takes me to not want to ever pick up another book from her again. There's so many questions. Besides my passing interest in some of her works that I have read, mostly because they're available for free through my library or through Hoopla. What makes her author that people are obsessed with? You know, maybe in reading a ton of books until again my eyes ostensibly bleed, I can figure that out, you know? I'm gonna take you along with me for the journey. Also, we're gonna be doing other stuff in this vlog too. I mean, I am going to be reading Freida McFadden books, don't get me wrong, but I'm also gonna take you along with me because frankly, I want to have some fun. I am putting my face on at the moment to go look for holiday decor for my office. You know, Miss, she needs a backdrop. But to do that, I need to finish up my makeup, get a cute little outfit on, maybe find a fragrance to pair with. Makeup's done, all dressed, now I'm ready for fragrance, which is one of the most important steps before I walk out the door. I feel like scent and fragrance in general just really sets the tone for my day and also can transport me to memories and vacations and trips that I've been on when I have worn those fragrances previously. And lately, I've been wanting to try something new, which is where the sponsor of today's video, Scentbird, comes in. It might be October, but fall is just starting to hit now in Texas, and I have been really leaning into warmer fragrances that really sit close to the skin. So when you go in for a warm hug with someone, you get just a hint of your fragrance, but they're not overwhelmed by it. These two scents have been absolutely perfect. I actually brought one of them on a recent vacation. I'm so excited to continue to wear it and again be reminded of that mood. All of the fragrances come with these little scent cards to let you know what the different notes are. One of the fragrances I've been loving is Skylar's Nude Skin. It has notes of tiger orchid, warm vanilla, and golden amber. One that I did end up bringing on my vacation is Lisa's Shoo Shoo. This one has notes of citrus peel, fresh cream, sandalwood, cocoa, and vanilla bean. And again, this one is so warm, so yummy, so delicious, and is something that I've been wearing every day since I got it. Scentbird as a service has come in handy so much for me lately. They offer a monthly subscription that allows you to explore over 900 authentic designer and niche fragrances. Each month you receive one of these amazing 8ml vials that gives you about 120 sprays, which is plenty of time to test how a fragrance will work for you. Now, one tip I love is to not just spray the fragrance in the air and walk through it. Instead, I like to mist it onto my wrists, and then I will lightly dab behind my ears, even on my hair a little bit, just like a fine mist, a little veil, subtle, but it does linger. And if I am going from indoors to outdoors and back indoors again, I do like to refresh my fragrance, and these are so easy to bring on the go. What's particularly cool about Scentbird, and something that I love as a fragrance lover who's constantly trying new things, is with this format, I can sample a rotating mix, so I'm not really stuck with one giant bottle I have to get through to test scents like Shoo Shoo or Nude Skin without committing right away. Also, another layering tip, if you use an unscented lotion in the places you're going to be spraying your fragrance, it can really increase the longevity of wherever you spray it. Now, if you've ever wanted to explore niche or boutique fragrances like I do without having to buy a full bottle, this is your sign. And right now, there's an offer for 55% off your first month. Use code Chandler55OFF at sign up, or use the QR code on screen to get that discount. That means you get to try your first fragrance from Scentbird for only $8.97, and your next month is only going to be $17.95. I genuinely think this is something that you feel more than you see, and I'm excited to hear if you guys end up trying it too. If you sign up, let me know which scents you got. Thanks to Scentbird for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now let's get out the door, get shopping, and get listening to Freida McFadden. That was nice, wasn't it? Christmas, it's coming. And keeping with that spirit, keeping with the theme of the holiday season, I actually ended up picking up The Gift by Freida McFadden first. Didn't realize when picking this up that it was a novella, specifically a Christmas novella. I did realize he was gonna come up here though. This is typical Pepper behavior. He doesn't want my attention unless I'm filming. When I tell you that was one of the funniest fucking things I think I've ever read, that might be hyperbole, but it was in fact quite hilarious. The thing I've noticed about Freida McFadden books, at least the vast majority of them, is that they're called the something. We've got Housemaid, The Ex, The Gift, The Inmate, The Teacher, and I think I'm going to try and stick with reading those books first. Is this a stylistic choice? Is this just laziness? I'm not quite sure. You know, Freida is a brain doctor. She helps people with brain injuries, I think specifically, which is absolutely fucking nuts, that a medical doctor in her spare time is writing questionably good mystery thrillers. Maybe she just doesn't have time to title them correctly, but let's talk about The Gift, because I did quickly listen to it. It took me less than an hour to listen to because it was such a short audiobook. I'm going to be using a combination of eyes and ears for this video too. Audiobooks and physical, Kindle books. I'm just putting off talking about this because I don't even know how to. This is a retelling of, I believe, The Gift of the Magi, which is a Christmas story about donating your hair, essentially giving up part of your beauty to be able to get a gift for somebody because you don't have money. I think it's supposed to talk about the Christmas spirit and, being loving and shit like that. Yeah. So in this case, our main character is working a couple of jobs to make ends meet because her husband is in law school, I guess refuses to work or can't work. I'm not entirely sure, but he's a lazy piece of shit is what we are gathering very quickly, very early on in the story. Erwin is working herself to the bone, but it's Christmas. She is about to get off of her shift at the diner, but she is panicked because her husband has basically let her know, hey, I have a really great gift for you. She is really excited to exchange gifts until she remembers, oh shit, I don't actually have a gift for my husband. I've been buying presents for everybody else in my life from the dollar store, but I didn't want to buy something from the dollar store for my husband. He's just simply too important to me and I love him too much, and it's our first Christmas as a married couple. And so she's in a pickle, she's in a bind, doesn't really have a plan until a mysterious older woman comes into the diner and offers her a bargain. Hey, I will do some sort of trade with you at my antiques shop. You just have to show up. And she's like, okay, sounds good. She gets off her shift at 11, shows up at this antique shop and makes a deal with the shop owner. She's going to exchange her hair for a chain for her husband's prized pocket watch. And she's like, this is such a good gift. He loves that pocket watch probably more than me. He's gonna love this chain for it, and I'm gonna give up my hair. And she does. The exchange is fucking hilarious. The main character in this book is so ridiculous, and I don't even want to say naive because I think that implies a level of character development that's just simply not present in this novella, but I think her name is Stella. She exchanges her hair for this chain, she goes home, and then she exchanges a gift with her husband. And the whole time I feel like you're kind of waiting with bated breath as to when the other shoe is going to drop and or what this gift is going to be. It couldn't possibly live up to her sacrifice in this amazing present, and of course it doesn't. I won't spoil exactly where things go, but I wouldn't consider this to be some sort of momentous, interesting, intriguing reveal, but it was entertaining. There wasn't anything about this book or novella that I was like, this is really, really bad. Is it inventive? No, not at all. I mean, it's a retelling of a story, and it doesn't do anything particularly new with it, especially the little epilogue after the story's over that's told from the point of view of the antiques owner. She is trying to talk about hair and the importance of hair, and it just doesn't land. It's kind of funny how much it doesn't land, but yeah, I wouldn't call this bad. I don't know that I would call it good though either. There was just something, I don't want to say propulsive about it, but yeah, I wanted to know what was happening next. Sadly, I don't feel like that every time I pick up a mystery thriller. What is it in a Freida McFadden book that keeps me going? Is it the ridiculousness? She really does a big one, I think, with her female main characters. I don't know that I've ever read a book by her that doesn't have a female main character, but they're all just this perfect amount of a little bit stupid. Not so stupid that I don't root for them. I think that's big. Good job, Freida. Good job. I'm not sure that was grade A level analysis, nor will I be giving that necessarily throughout this video, but I think we need to keep reading. I think we need to keep reading to really fully get into, again, the Freida-ness of it all. What makes her books different? My theory right now is just that, yeah, they're just that readable. The heroines are stupid, but not too stupid. Writing is good enough, but not too good. The plot lines are accessible. I feel like that's pretty much it, but maybe we're going to uncover something else, and we're also going to uncover if there's similarities that exist, right, beyond that. This lighting, I feel like, is reflective of kinds of books we're reading here, and I hate to say that 2 books in, I am starting to feel my ears bleed. My eyes aren't bleeding yet because I haven't read with my eyes, but my ears, I cannot believe, maybe they're starting to chafe. Okay, 50% into the X by Freida McFadden, and I am definitely noticing patterns, kind of as I was saying in the last book. Something that Freida does, and I guess you could say this of many dime a dozen authors, is she doesn't give a fuck about her main characters, like at all. She doesn't care to give them true backstory, true personality. I think that is sometimes good, sometimes bad. Sometimes I feel like I read mystery thrillers and I'm like, you're trying too hard to make this literary and getting bored and like, where's the thrills, right? But other times I do like a little bit more there. I think emotional response out of your reader takes more than just a cheap thrill. I think sometimes it does take having your characters have some fears and having some backstory. In this case, our main characters, I'm not really feeling that from. So the thing also about this book is it's a little confusing, so I don't know if I'm going to do the best job at describing it, but we have our main character Cassie, and she is dating this guy named Joel. She thinks he's perfect. He's a doctor. She is working at a bookstore. I think that she might own it at this point or manage it. It is tough to make ends meet. Kind of struggling until she meets this guy. And it's not like he is necessarily funding her life or anything at this point, but they're dating and she's having a good time. But the ex keeps coming up. This ex named Francesca, I guess all of Joel's friends really liked. There is one woman in particular who keeps trying to sabotage Cassie. She is considerably younger than Joel. She's like 10 years younger and younger than Francesca, and everybody liked Francesca. And in this scene that I just read, there's a Halloween party that happens, and Cassie ends up showing up in, I guess, the same exact costume that Francesca wore like last year or the year before. And Joel is like taken aback and he's like, wow, this woman's crazy. Like he's thinking Cassie might be a little bit unhinged, not realizing that his, I guess, friends encouraged Cassie to wear this costume. We are also ostensibly, question mark, getting the point of view of Francesca, or maybe it's somebody else. We're getting point of view chapters from the ex. I think it's Francesca. I'm not entirely sure. And we're seeing how she is following up on or trying to understand why Joel dumped her and is like very curious about Joel's new girlfriend. We don't know the name of Joel's new girlfriend, so it could be Cassie, it could be somebody else. And I think what we're going to find out as we continue to read is that like, not necessarily there's an unreliable narrator, but maybe one of the points of view is intentionally misleading. Like maybe Cassie and Francesca are different people and they have their own points of view, but the person that Francesca's been following around isn't Cassie, it's somebody else. Or maybe Francesca's chapter isn't really Francesca, it's Cassie in a different timeline. I think that that is kind of what setting up though. I think she's setting up the fact that like these two points of view are not what we're being led to believe, because I think what we're being led to believe is that there's Cassie, there's Francesca, but I think there's more to it. Yeah, the reason that I feel like my ears are bleeding is because I don't think that that is being successfully done. I don't feel like that's being successfully done. You're getting confused, and not in a way that you're like, oh, this is confusing, but like I'm starting to unfold the secrets and I'm starting to figure it out. It's more like, oh no, this is just like a poorly done plot device. It's not actually being executed well. And again, back to my point that I don't think I fully fleshed out earlier, I just don't know how successful Freida's books can be if time after time, the only thing that's really changing is what plot twist she uses. Granted, not a different plot twist if I'm reading the same author over and over again. I'm not upset at that, but want to see more than just different plot twist. Like, give me different characters, give me something spooky that's different every single time. We're not really getting that here. It's like these young women who are like maybe a little bit naive and maybe they have like one trait, right? In the last book, we had one who is more hardworking than the person that she's with, and she really wants to do good by him. Then in this book, we've got a heroine who I guess is kind of trying to do right by this guy. Like, she wants to be loyal to this man who maybe doesn't deserve her, and I don't know, like maybe she's not seeing the red flags there, though he's so milquetoast that I just don't know if there are really any red flags to see at this point. But I guess one of the points of view, this person has really close ties to their grandmother who's Italian. I guess that's a personality. Is that a personality trait? That's just like a fact about someone. I don't know that any of these women have personalities, which is a damn shame. You'd think a brain doctor would be seeing different personalities, you know, in that job. I do know that this lighting is fucking horrendous, and I want to finish this book tonight, so I'm gonna do that, and I'll report back early tomorrow morning on how it went, and we can start in on something new. I think I'm gonna try to finish this video tomorrow. I think my eyes and ears will be bleeding tomorrow. Already there, you know, or like getting there, 2 books in, I can't imagine what's going to happen. I do know for sure, though, whatever book makes it happen, whatever book, it just really sets me on edge. I have one more book that I want to read after that, just because it's too delicious, too ironic. Okay, anyway, we'll talk later. I don't know that the human brain was meant to consume this much Freida McFadden in a short time period. Also, I've got some friends with me who are going to be making noise. I did finish The X. I am 50% of the way into The Inmate, and my brain is starting to rot from the inside out. Not to make light of anything. not to make light of anything here, but do you think that there's a possibility that Freida McFadden writes books so bad to rot your brain so that you have to seek help from her when you're done? Has anyone asked that question before? Here's the thing. This book, I did sort of correctly predict what she was trying to do here. Now, did I correctly predict exactly how that would happen? No. We do, in fact, have some fuckery afoot when it comes to the different points of view. Won't let you know whether that means there were multiple different timelines or whether there were multiple different points of view, or same points of view. Like, I'm not gonna let you know that. I mean, we're getting, she's writing 2 points of view. I'm not gonna let you know exactly, everything. Cause that would be not fun. And I know that you were just dying and desperate to read this book. But what was done was much dumber than I could have anticipated. I think that my prediction was definitely based on a logic that does not exist in the Freidaverse, right? I think that Freida is trying to shock and awe us and is trying to use familiar conventions within the mystery thriller genre, because this is definitely something that authors do. They give you multiple different points of view or multiple different points of view that are actually different timelines. They try to do fucky things, right? And sometimes that works really, really well. Sometimes it doesn't. And in this book, I mean, it obviously didn't fucking work. It's Freida. Like, not to shit on the girl, but the problem here is that I had to suspend my disbelief in a way that was not fun. I think that, let's say, had there been a third perpetrator or like a third point of view here, right? Who was the perpetrator, and they came out of nowhere and they got away with it. Okay. But I don't think you can have like multiple people trading crimes and doing fuck shit getting away with it, and it not being the 2 points of view that we have been listening to or reading the whole time. Not to mention, Cassie's point of view is both dull and stupid the entire time. Talk about a character I didn't give a fuck about, right? The one good thing I guess we get from her is that she is helping an elderly lady who is trying to sell some books, some really, really valuable books, and this woman doesn't know the value of them, and instead of leasing this old woman, it's like, you know what, I'll help you sell these books, I'll take just a small commission, but like, I'm gonna help you sell them, and you should get the majority of the profits. Like, I can tell you're not rich, and you don't know what you have on your hands, and like, I'm gonna help you. So I guess that's good. Like, she's not a piece of shit person. Go Cassie, I guess. But beyond that, that's like the only trait. And I'm seeing that again recurring in Freida books. In the first one, heroine, like, she has more backstory for sure. She has like reasons kind of for doing what she's doing, but not a ton. And I was like, okay, maybe this is like a one-off. I mean, I knew it wasn't a one-off. I knew because I'd read other stuff in the past. But it's like somehow getting worse. It's somehow getting worser and worser. This third book that I'm on, I'm just like, this book, I call it worse than The Gift, yes, because it was more pages and a dumber outcome. I don't feel like many people would be satisfied with this, and the Goodreads review for this book are particularly bad. People are saying it's confusing. I do think it's kind of confusing. I did understand ultimately what she was trying to do. She just did a fucking horrible job at it, okay? If you want an not unreliable narrator, if you want the, ooh, what points of view am I reading kind of story, this is not the one. This is not the one. So this is where the brain rot has really set in, okay? I'm using my eyes now. I'm using my eyes, in fact, to read this book. I picked up The Inmate by Freida McFadden. I'm trying to pick up ones that look more popular and like have more reviews and seem to be more highly rated, because like everybody's got some stinkers in their catalog, especially one as rich as Freida McFadden. I mean, she is publishing at a speed at which I can't comprehend, frankly. Okay, so this book, main character Brooke, and Brooke is going to be the physician or physician assistant, or is she a nurse? I think she's a nurse, but she is like acting basically as the doctor at a prison. She has moved back to her hometown because her parents have passed away and given her a house, and she's living there with their 10-year-old son. What we come to find out is that Brooke left town many years ago because she put a man in jail for murdering a lot of her friends when they were 18, and the man who she accused of murdering all of her friends is actually the father of her child, and he is in the prison that she is a nurse/doctor at. Kind of a fun setup. I'm not gonna lie, kind of a fun setup. Wacky is all fuck for sure, but like a fun setup for a book. Now, the problem is the writing is getting to me a little bit. I'm starting to notice things that are, I don't even know that I would say corny. She really writes in a very say familiar style. Also, sorry y'all, the sun keeps going in and out and I'm gonna look really pale at times. You know what? I'm not gonna touch it. She writes in a style that I don't even know if I'd call it a style. She writes in a way that is accessible. I think we are past the point of accessibility and have gotten into, girl, what the fuck territory at time. Let me find my highlights. I'm not good at this on the Kindle, let me just tell you. So here I am, buying Lucky Charms, and I guess eggs and cheese and bread and some other stuff we need. This was a chapter in which our heroine is, you guessed it, going to the grocery store. Reasoning behind going to the grocery store and the lead up to it was dull and also just so like this is how I would talk. Yeah, so here I am buying Lucky Charms and like I guess eggs and bread and cheese and other stuff we need. The writing's pretty bad. I know that that's probably not the best representation of that, but just rest assured that the rest of the writing is pretty piss poor in this book as well. Here's my actual issue with it besides the bad writing. Okay, our heroine, again, she's back in town. She's living in her dead parents' house. Her parents wanted her to get an abortion, by the way, and they wanted her to pretend she never got pregnant, I guess, but since she decided to keep her baby, they were like, get the fuck out of town. She doesn't have a good relationship with them. They're dead anyway. She's living in this house. And I guess that's some backstory and some context, but Brooke is perhaps the dumbest bitch alive. How she's still alive, I actually don't know. How she didn't get murdered along with all of her friends, I also don't know. One of the things that she's told while working at this prison is that she should not reveal personal information in her conversations with the inmates, which I think is very logical. You don't necessarily want people to take advantage of this information. You don't know who these people know. You don't know if they talk to each other, etc., etc. But she has let slip that she is unmarried, that she has a child, and God knows what else kind of information. She has had personal conversations with Shane, the man she put in prison, and he is telling her that she should be staying away from Tim, which is a guy that they used to go to school with. It used to be her neighbor back in like high school and middle school, etc., etc. She's known Tim for a long time. Tim has been coming around trying to basically like get all up in her cookie, okay? Brookie's cookie, if you will. And Shane is like, whatever you do, just stay away from Tim. And she's like, yeah, okay, I will. Guy that I put in prison for murdering all my friends. Brooke is still hanging out with Tim. And he's like coming over, hanging out with her kid, fixing her plumbing, shit like that. Just too many like laid on thick details where you're like, okay, I immediately have clocked it. I think Tim is the murderer. Tim is definitely the person who killed everybody. Shane just got framed for this, and we're gonna find out that the wrong guy's in prison. And you know what? He's probably gonna get out at the end of the book, and he is going to become a dad to the little boy he is father of, you know, and doesn't know, because that would not make any logical sense to let the guy that you put in prison know that he is a dad. But I think that would also be too obvious for a Freida book, and I think that's what's fucking with me here. I think it would be too obvious to have Tim be the guy that killed everybody, and yet he kind of has to be, like, unless she's going to set up one of these women, in this case, like high school girls, as a murderer, I feel like it's gotta be Tim. Like, it couldn't be Shane. Is there, like, a murder ring going on? Also, we know that Tim dated a girl back in high school who died before the events of this one night that everybody's at, you know, some guy's house, and, like, you know, they're all hanging out and everybody starts getting murdered. Before that, Tim was dating a girl who got killed. So did he kill that girl too? I just feel like we're laying it on a little thick. It feels too obvious. But I also don't know, because it's Freida. Like, she does kind of think we're stupid. Or maybe she's the stupid one. I don't know. But this is what's really scrambling the fucking brains right now. It's like, I don't know if I can trust my own. Toughie. It's a real toughie. Again, Brooke, such a stupid main character. Genuinely. I mean, for a final girl, how she was able to survive this long is beyond me. She also seems to have like beef with the woman who is babysitting her kid while she works. She's like, I'm so glad that this older woman is like helping me look after my kid, and now she's like, I don't like that this bitch makes good meatballs. I don't make good meatballs. I kind of understand where she's coming from. Like, oh, someone else is watching my kid and my kid likes her more than me now. I get it. But also, I kind of find that as a recurring theme that I'm seeing in Freida books is, what is a female friendship? Can they exist? I don't think so in a Freida McFadden book. Every girl is bitchy. Most of the men are either really boring or they're very creepy. I don't want to say give me some moral grayness. I just don't think she's capable of that, but I'm spiraling a little bit. My brain is becoming scrambled eggs. I do want to finish this because I have to know what happens. I have to know if it's Tim. Is it Tim? God, if it's Tim. And then we move on to something else. We do. The good news is that the last book that I want to read for this is it's an audiobook, and I actually am going volunteer at the library today. This is not my phone. I can plug in my AirPods and listen while I pull holds for other patrons at the library. That's what I do at the library, if anyone was curious. Okay, I'm gonna go, I guess. For my brain, I also drank way too much caffeine, so that's probably contributing to part of it. No, I refuse to believe that was what that fucking book was. That was the dumbest shit I've ever read. Without hyperbole, I really think that's the dumbest shit I've ever read. I said, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, about 1,000,000 times. Okay, I am going to spoil this book. I don't care. I'm going to spoil it because I think it will elicit a laugh. If you don't want to be spoiled for this book, skip ahead to the next one. I think I'm just going to read one more because my eyes are bleeding. Freida, you did that, girl. Holy shit. So, our heroine is really proving that Freida McFadden heroines are the dumbest bitches alive. How they stay alive, I'm not quite sure, but okay. Our heroine is dating the guy named Tim that she went to school with, you know, who's had a crush on her forever. She is working at the prison. She has treated Shane a couple of times, and she's getting mixed messages. Tim is saying, stay away from Shane, he's dangerous, and she's starting to get bad vibes about Tim herself. So after, you know, a series of events, she's been dating Tim. She goes to his house. They're gonna fuck, but she heads down to his basement, and she realizes, oh my god, there's a body under a tarp here, and there's been a woman who's gone missing, and I know that person dated Tim. Oh my god, I think it's Kelly under the tarp. What the fuck? He gets arrested for murdering Kelly, and he goes to trial, and I don't even think assume, our heroine has recanted the confession that she had, or the testimony she had the night of the murder of all of her friends. And she's saying now that Tim did it. It wasn't Shane, it was Tim, and so we're putting Tim in jail, and Shane's gonna be released. Okay, that's definitely how the criminal justice system works, and it totally didn't take any time at all for any of that to happen, okay? Tim's in jail now for murdering Kelly, murdering that girl that he, you know, dated back in high school, and then murdering all of these people. You know, that makes sense, I guess, or at least that's what we're supposed to believe. Shane gets out of prison, and he is going to be living with our heroine for a while because he wants to meet his son, he wants to get to know his son. He is just so grateful for our heroine for getting him out of jail, even though she put him there in the first place. They're going visit Shane's family home that is left to him by his mother. Okay, they get there, they're like cleaning the house. Our heroine has to like step away for a little while, and then she can't find Shane anymore. She calls him, and he's like, I have your son. I'm gonna make it hurt for you, bitch. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Shane? Hangs up on her. She doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't know where her son is. But then she gets picked up in a car by Margie, the person that has been babysitting her son, babysitting one son, Josh, the 10-year-old. Margie, the lady who's been watching the kid, is actually Shane's mom, and guess what? She is joint murderer with Shane. They're trying to murder our heroine back in the day, back when everybody was at that house, but they weren't successful. They murdered everybody else instead. Whoops. And Tim actually saved our heroine from being murdered by Shane. You might be asking yourself, why are we trying to murder our heroine? Because Margie, Shane's mom, was trying to fuck, or did fuck, not entirely sure, our heroine's dad, okay? So when Shane was 5, Margie was like hot and young and sexy, and I guess she was fucking our heroine's dad. And she wanted our heroine's dad to leave our heroine's mom. That didn't end up happening. And so she wants to seek revenge for all that's happened by killing this girl. Yeah, because that's like totally sane. It makes a whole lot of sense. And Shane is in on it because he loves his mommy, and he's of course going to do anything mommy says. And so he's going to date our heroine and then also eventually kill her, although he's not successful in the killing. Margie is also pretty upset that Shane never really got to know his son, and that Margie didn't really get to know our heroine's son, because heroine's parents kept the baby a secret, like I told you earlier. And so she also killed our heroine's parents. So that's another thing as well. She also killed Kelly, of course, planted the body. She also killed girl that Tim was dating back in the day so that she could frame him for the murder, or she thought she was going to be able to frame Tim, the murder of all of those people. But unfortunately, you know, our heroine's testimony kind of fucked that. Tim gets out of jail. Okay, Tim does in fact get out of jail, and our heroine decides to start fucking him again because he forgives her for putting him in jail. I mean, how long was he there? We're not really sure. We're not really sure because, again, time doesn't exist, and the criminal justice system definitely works exactly like it does in this book. What other fun tidbits do I have for you? Besides the fact that she's like fucking these guys who she's like unsure of if they murder people, there's definitely something else that I wanted to tell you. I remembered the last thing I was going to tell you about this fuck-ass book. Epilogue, of course, typical Freida epilogue, which she uses to just further the crazy that she has put into the world. Josh, the little boy, killed Shane because Tim had been telling the little boy for a long time, hey, if Shane ever gets out of prison and comes see your mom, he's a bad guy. And so Josh kills this guy. I forgot to tell you that Shane does die, and it was the little boy that killed him. Just so much fuckery afoot here. But I really think what we need to gather from all of this is that our heroine is dumb as a sack of fucking rocks. Her judgment is not quite there. And also, like, I understand, you know, the police are trying to arrest someone and convict someone when it comes to crimes. But after your first testimony that you're unsure of, I don't know that I would continue giving testimony, right? And continuing to put people in jail who you aren't really sure murdered people. But she is talking with some conviction there, and in fact is getting people convicted. Oh god, she's so stupid. Everybody's dumb. I mean, this book is dumb. Good god. My brain is fried. My brain is scrambled, and I feel like there's something I'm forgetting, but I don't know that it ultimately matters. I will say, This is the most inventive plotline we've read thus far. I don't think inventive's always necessarily good. This one, again, I'm having to suspend my disbelief too much. Our heroine, I don't fuck with. Here's the thing, the first two heroines I also didn't fuck with, but I could also sort of see how they could get themselves into those situations, right? Not the woman's fault when she's being misled by a man, right? But at some point, you have to have discernment and judgment, and the heroine in this book had none. She really didn't. She kept doing dumb shit over and over again. I'm just having raw intercourse with people that, again, could or could not be killers. Also, what I thought was kind of funny is that Tim ends up helping our heroine get a job outside of the prison, and then after that, I don't want to say within like a couple of weeks, she gets him arrested for killing people. So at one point, she thinks that Tim and Shane like teamed up together to kill, and I'm like, girl, come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. I think it's time for our final book. Which is perfect because I actually have to leave for the library pretty soon here. The book in question is called Brain Damage by Freida McFadden. And great irony to name a book Brain Damage. You are a brain doctor, and when you are writing such mind-boggling tomes, defies logic, really. I'm gonna go, and I'll be back to update you on this one. Gorgeous lighting situation is back in business, baby! I am 50% of the way into a book, and I should probably get cute for you. My volunteering at the library went great. Thanks for asking. The unfortunate thing is that my Hoopla app kept like cutting in and out on my AirPods, so I couldn't listen to as much of this book as I wanted to. I should have finished it earlier than now. And again, I'm still not finished, but 50% into Brain Damage by Freida McFadden. This book is about our main character, Charlotte, aka Charlie. She is a dermatologist who was shot in the head, and now she has brain damage. You guessed it. The story is told from two different timelines. We have Charlie getting to know her husband in the past timeline. We are also starting to maybe understand a little bit more about her clientele, and maybe potentially who might have had it out for Charlie, who like wanted her dead. And then we also have present day Charlie recovering from this injury, this brain injury that she has. Essentially, the left part of her brain was affected, or maybe it's the opposite, but anyway, she can't really like see or perceive or feel anything on the left side of her body. So she can't really like use her left arm. She has trouble walking. She has trouble reading things on the left side of a page or seeing things on the left side of her body. Her depth perception's fucked up, obviously. At the very beginning, she doesn't really know who she is or where she is. Those faculties are coming back to her now. So interesting in the sense that I haven't read that many books with characters recovering from brain injuries. I've read a couple, but not any quite as close up as this. What I'm finding less interesting, and what I am, I guess, perhaps a little bit annoyed by, is the past timeline when Charlie is showing us her life and what it's like is just so shallow and so surface level. She is, I wouldn't say described as homely, but she's definitely not described as like a really beautiful woman. And she is positioned by one of her patients who happens to be very handsome and charming. He's an attorney. Our heroine is like, no, I don't date patients. But then she comes around to this guy. She starts dating him. I wouldn't go so far as to say he's love bombing her because we don't get that sort of detail in this story, but she ends up marrying him without a whole lot of context for who he is. And once she's married to him, she realizes he's definitely keeping some secrets from her. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call them nefarious, although they're definitely red flags and like I wouldn't tolerate them in a marriage. But nothing at this point is leading me to believe that he had it out for her and was trying to kill her. Though she does have a pretty, I believe, sizable life insurance policy. So maybe he was trying to get after her and her money this entire time. I wouldn't be surprised if Freida does that like typical Freida thing where she, you know, gives you some little hints and clues that would make it too easy to believe that this man would kill her. And then you're gonna find out at the end of the story he did still want to kill her, maybe for different reasons. And he was like scoping her out this entire time, and he planned to be there and he planned to meet her. And I don't know, like just some really convoluted bullshit. I could see that. We're also getting a little bit of, I think, a red herring, maybe. A patient who asked our heroine out and she said no. Maybe that could be the killer. There's also a gentleman whose wife was treated by Charlie for, I believe, pretty severe psoriasis, and her husband was kind of a piece of shit, and whenever her psoriasis was healed, she's like, I finally have the courage and the confidence to divorce him. And this man is angry, I guess, at our heroine for like curing his wife, or I guess at this point ex-wife. So there's definitely options on who could it be. I think it's gonna be her husband. That's my guess, but I'm just astounded. Like, I understand that she's supposed to maybe be love bombed by this guy, but like it also is just so crazy that she would marry this man without knowing him. And I understand that she's not supposed to be a very confident person, and so maybe that's how she got into the situation, but it all just seems so lazy. I need some more context here. I don't know. If you're going to set us up to believe that someone is not very confident in themselves, like, can I get some more context for that? Beyond just like, I'm not pretty enough. No. Everything is just so shallow. It is getting to me. It is certainly getting to me. Ready to leave the Freidaverse. I'm ready to leave the Freidaverse and get into a story where characters have like true foibles and problems and character flaws, and they are announced to us. I'm actually reading a book right now with a lot of those things. That's the joy of romance. There are very few romances that I pick up where I feel like the author has put in no attempt at giving characters personality. I mean, there's very few mystery thrillers that I also feel that way about. Though I will say genre conventions are obviously different in mystery thriller. I don't think the characters tend to be, as a whole, as fleshed out necessarily as romance, but we'll discuss the details later, I guess. I'm gonna finish this. I'm also gonna let Binky out. If you've heard screaming in the background, I put Binky in the laundry room to eat so he doesn't eat his brother's food, and he has been in there less than 5 minutes, and he is howling like he's been locked in there for hours, so I guess I'll go free the man. The plot is thickening in the Freidaverse because brain damage turned out to be more of a romance than anything, which I wasn't entirely expecting. And I know that I was just complaining. It's like Freida was answering questions that I had. This is actually the book, I think, with the most well fleshed out main character that we've gotten so far. That's not saying much. I don't think that Charlie here was the most intriguing character or the most relatable character or the most, written character, but she definitely had a little bit more going on than characters in her other books. And I think that's because we're spending such close time with her in her own head. She is recovering obviously from this traumatic brain injury. She is trying to figure out who killed her, or who killed her. She's not dead. Who tried to kill her. I also have a Binky in here too, in case anybody look at him. He looks extra cute today. He's gonna get white cat hair all over my sweatshirt. Guess what? It is actually under 80 degrees here in Texas today. It's 54 degrees. It's 54 degrees, so I'm wearing a sweatshirt and sweatpants. Anyway, we do find out who was out to get Charlie, and I wish that it were more exciting, but this was the most cut and dry. I wouldn't even call it a mystery thriller. It wasn't either mysterious or thrilling to, find out who was trying to kill her. Can I just tell you? It was her husband. Yeah, it was in fact her husband that was trying to kill her. He wanted this money that she had in an offshore account. He'd gotten money from a patient who passed away and didn't have anybody to leave his money to, and I guess her husband knew about this and was like, oh, I'm out to get you. The only real twist there was the man whose wife left him because of her psoriasis married to our heroine's current husband. You know what I mean? For some reason, the guy she encountered, what context, like outside of the clinic, that was like, I can't believe, like, my wife left me because of the cured psoriasis. I guess he was like hired, like he wasn't actually, he's not her husband. I don't know if this is not making sense. I'm not articulating well. We were being thrown off, I guess. But basically, guy was upset that his wife left him because of the psoriasis. Cured psoriasis, I should say. She cured her psoriasis, she left her shitty husband, and to exact his revenge, this guy comes after our heroine and is like, I'm gonna marry the shit out of you, and I'm gonna steal all your money. And he does that. So again, kind of a typical Freida plotline, but it just wasn't very, of course it's always the man. It's always the man. I guess maybe not in Freida books. There's kind of equal opportunity there for women and men to be shitty. But yeah, it wasn't exactly an unexpected plotline. Why I say that this reads more as a romance, though, than a mystery thriller is because, one, again, the plotline not that exciting in terms of the mystery and the thrills, but on top of that, there is a gentleman that our heroine meets while she is recovering from her brain injury. His name is Jamie, I want to say. He is recovering from his own injury, and they get to know each other, and he likes her, and he finds her beautiful, and they flirt, and she feels validated for the first time ever. And honestly, if someone else had written this story, I think I would have been really on board with it. Like, I don't even think the fact that her husband was trying to kill her is like that outlandish, but the romance couldn't really land because our heroine doesn't have enough personality. This guy is like, you're just so beautiful to me, and like, you have such a good heart. I could tell you had a good heart. I'm like, what good heart? She's just recovering from a brain injury. Like, we don't know anything really about her except for that she was a dermatologist. I guess, by nature of being a doctor, she helps people, but like, what about her is so stupendous that this man is like obsessed with her and like wants to be with her? I'm not understanding. I am understanding is I've got this little tool from assembling my new desk, and I'm playing with Binky with it, and he is loving this right now. Is so good. Okay, I'm really losing my steam here, my thoughts and feelings on this book. All of this to say, wasn't a good one. I think this was maybe the worst one that I've read by her, and not worst as in the most outlandish plotline. I think that goes to the Inmate, but worst as in so unexciting. Like, there wasn't anything there. And I couldn't even say that like the increased characterization and I wouldn't even say development, characterization really helped this be a good story. So what have we learned from having our eyes bleed from reading Freida McFadden? We've learned that what is appealing to her stories, I think, is that they are so easily digestible. Writing is not good and at points bad. Her heroines are not exciting or well fleshed out people, but I think that there's a level of self-insert you can do in her stories that could maybe be appealing. Maybe not even self-insert, but I do find sometimes that when I read mystery thrillers, the main characters can be so distinct as to be irritating. Like if you ever read a Gillian Flynn book, ooh, sometimes her heroines are prickly, and I like that. I find that fun and exciting, but I think other people can be sometimes annoyed or irritated at the choices you're making with your characters. And I mean, that goes across the board of genre, right? But like, especially in a mystery thriller, I think sometimes you could be like, oh, I don't even care what happens to you, or like, I hope that this person gets what's coming to them, or ooh, I don't even care, you know, if bad things happen to them because they're annoying. In a Freida book, you don't really get that experience. I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, this person's stupid, but that's about it. Like, they don't have enough of a character or personality to really get you to like be pissed off. So you can just kind of like let yourself sink into the story and not think too much about it. I don't necessarily believe that we shouldn't engage critically with books, but I do understand the appeal sometimes, kind of turning your brain off a little bit and just getting what you need from a story. And I think Freida's books are maybe the best example of that, right? You're going to get some sort of twist. I mean, that's what you can get from a Freida McFadden story, and there's so many of them, right? So if you've read one and you were like, wow, this was easy to get through, they're pretty much all like that. So I guess that's good. But I think for myself, I like a prickly main character. I like characters with backstory. I like thrillers that are a little bit more literary. So I don't think Freida's ever going to really be a favorite of mine, but she definitely has a seat at the table when it comes to the broader discussions of mystery thriller and just what is out there. You know, I think that there are definitely polar extremes and opposites and ends of this mystery thriller spectrum. You've got the Freidas of the world, you've got the Karen Slaughters of the world who can really go the fuck off when it comes to characterization and writing, telling stories that don't necessarily rely on what I consider to be cheap thrills. But now, as for the woman herself, we'll close it out there. I have a lot of respect for Freida because she is ostensibly making the world a better place with her gift to the medical establishment, but she's also out here living her dreams by writing mystery thrillers, you know, and they don't have to be good. She's just expressing herself. And I think that I am less judgmental of authors writing not great things and maybe more judgmental of the people who read them. If I were to judge anyone, I actually just have so much respect for people who go out there and just do things. It's been on my mind a lot lately, and I don't mean to get too philosophical here at the end of this video, but I do have a lot of admiration for people who are putting themselves out there and doing the things that are scary. As someone, I think, who at times was raised with a great deal of embarrassment and shame put into place, like you should be embarrassed or ashamed of certain things, or, you know, trying big scary things can be embarrassing if you fail, whatever. Getting away from that has been maybe the most freeing thing in my adult life, and I think more people need to do that because I think we would have more art out in the world. I think we would have more interesting things out in the world if everybody just kind of did it and had fun and didn't really care whether the things they were creating were textbook good, you know? Because clearly art has found an audience, even if it's not necessarily what I consider to be incredible. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a good time reading some Freida. I don't know that we came to any grand conclusions or anything super exciting. I would love, honestly, to pick this woman's brain and just like learn more about why she does what she does, but I don't know that we're gonna get that since she lives in semi-anonymity. I think I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of this delightful fall day with Dingo and Binky, who's down here. Don't forget to check out Scentbird, by the way. You can use my code chandler55off to get, again, 55% off your first order. Thanks so much for watching this video. Y'all, I love y'all so much, and I'll see you in the next one.